Circuit bending is about the exploration of technology. Do not be intimidated by the competition element. Everyone who participates is a winner.
So this is the 8th Moog Circuit Bending Challenge. I first entered in 2012. That was the 3rd one. But I decided to revisit the tape recorder and see if I can do a very simple mod to a tape recorder and make it a lot more interesting. So one thing I was able to do was to buy some of these cassette tape adapters, which come with a tape head and are designed normally for you to play your MP3 player through a car tape player. And so I took the standard cassette recorder, which I'd also used in Stewart and cut up a bit more than this one, and what I did, I wired an extra socket here, extra socket that is in parallel with the tape head, so I can plug in a tape head like this one here, which is mounted, and this one which is sort of free. I can plug that one in instead. Still works as a tape player and you can record still. So one of the ideas and works quite nicely, is to have a paint stick, and what it does, I put magnetic tape, cassette tape, magnetic tape on the edge, and with this tape head you can bow it like this. And that way you can make noises, typically like cats make sounds, or fart noises. With the other tape head, I put some tape onto a mouse mat, glued that down, and now you can use this tape head to play the sounds off the tape this way, and you go forwards and backwards as you can with the paint sticks. So getting back to the 2012 Circuit Bender competition, one of my ideas was to use a soda can and put magnetic tape around that and convert that into the recording device that the competition needed. So this is what I've done here. I've taken a soda can, a pencil, some bits of cardboard, and so I've mounted the soda can with the pencils, the axle, and then attached with double-sided tape some magnetic tape. I use on this one I just used videotape. On the mouse mat I got videotape and cassette tape. So this sort of doesn't work, but in the sense that it's not playable very well, because getting the surface smooth enough is very hard, and that the friction required to have the tape head pressed against the can is enough to make it stop. So even though it can make noise, it's not really useful. But I did try it, and so now I know how bad it is. So the thing about circuit bending is it's having some fun, learning things, trying to solve problems you've discovered along the way, and really it's not really about what you make, but it's about how you get there. This is a battery-powered cassette recorder. It has a battery compartment which takes 4 C-cell batteries, which makes it only using 6 volts. The competition rules say up to 9, so this meets the voltage requirements. So being it has a microphone and some other line input, headphone outputs, external microphone control. This is the Moog Circuit Bending Challenge, number 8. For this challenge I'm using a cassette recorder, battery powered. It's the On brand from a well-known store. And I'm also going to use these On brand cassette tape adapters. These are designed to plug into some audio equipment like a phone or an MP3 player and replace the cassette tape and allow you to play music through this device. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart because it has a tape head here. This tape head here we're going to use as a tape head rather than using it as a transducer. And what we're going to try and do is see if we can use it with things other than just a regular tape cassette. Use these On-brand cassette tape adapters. So what we need to do is take this apart. So take the battery back out again. And basically there are 4 screws, looks like, holding the casing. Let's have a look. I used the same brand of cassette recorder when I built my Circuit Bend 3 years ago, where I used a cassette recorder and a minion from the movie. And the minion had a voice music board in it, which activated any time you activated one of the switches on the minion. And basically I made that controlled through some optical sensors. So if you look at my entry for the 2016 circuit bending competition, that's what you'll find. So here we have, so here we have a cassette tape mechanism. I don't need the handle, we'll take that out now. So we have a cassette tape mechanism, we have a tape head. So what we want to do is wire one of these other tape heads in parallel with this one so that we can try to use it outside this mechanism. And that's the plan. This over here is a magnet which is used to erase the tape when you're in record mode. So basically the tape passes past this magnet, which removes most of the magnetic on the field of the tape, and then through this head, which then records a new signal on top of it. This is a monophonic tape machine. These tape heads that we're going to use are stereo, so we have to be careful about how we wire them up. So that we don't get the 2 signals on the tape, the 2 parts of tape head here, making signals in opposite direction and cancelling themselves out. We would lose a lot of volume that way. Let's take it apart. So first of all, we'll take, there's 4 screws on this side. Now most cassette machines like this have some form of auto stop. So when it gets to the end of the tape, or the tape gets jammed or something, the mechanism stops itself. So in one of these devices, they don't know which mechanism is going to be used, so they usually have, here we go, yep. They have a set of, it's glued as well. So they have a set of gears which rotate these two heads, these two drive pins, so that the when the mechanism, this device is in and you hit play or record, then these both rotate and hopefully defeat any form of auto stop. Okay, let's see if the mechanisms are going to work this time. Good, the motor's not going wrong. This is a start. Okay, so the microphone is there and it opens. And allow you to play music through this device. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it. So it's still making noises. Make one earlier for testing purposes. So that's now plugged in there. So we can close that up. Now the way this machine works, as long as this side goes round and doesn't stop, it will keep playing. So here is a mouse mat, and I've used double-sided tape to make a stick down. Let's see if we can make this head pick up some signals. Fart machine. This mechanism here stops it, is the record tab detector. So this is why I have to put a blank tape in, just so that I can hit the record, because it stops this piece of metal sliding forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove this piece of plastic so I don't have the record tab issue. So I've replaced the tape head lead with a screened cable. This hopefully should reduce the buzzing sound. The loudspeaker plugs in here, and I've just removed from the top of the unit the cassette tape holder. Basically it was one screw I had to unscrew here, and then I could just remove the piece of plastic. So I don't need that anymore really, because I want to try and do, I want to use this drive spindle here, which goes obviously rotates when the in play mode, and I can rotate a few other objects stuck on the top here, and then use those to act as like a cylinder covered in mag tape, so I can actually just play tunes, so I don't have to move my hand. It'll just rotate instead. So we'll see how that comes along. So what I'm doing here is I'm making a mount for this tape head, and so I've sticking some wood down here, so I can put the tape head about there. I just want a piece of wood this side to hold it in place on this side. What I'm doing is basically I'm using a sharp knife and scoring across the piece of wood and then scoring it back the other side. Now this table I'm working on is a cheap plastic table, so I would normally put, using something like that, I'd do some protection underneath. So what I want to do is put the head basically like that. It's only there, roughly, so put that down there. Hot glue. Hot glue's great for this type of project. It's basically instant. So there we go. The tape head sits there very nicely. So you can actually glue that down. Glue either side. Put the tape head down there. Hold it for a few seconds so it cools down. Don't get tape head glue on the surface up there. So there we have it. Looks like I should be able to do that quite easily. And it basically, top of the tape head gap, I'll go along this edge, so it uses this side for playing. And I turn it over, I can play the other side, etc. So that should work fine. So I just plug this into the machine. And I have some sticks I made yesterday which have the tape on them. Let's see if they still play. So they still make noise. Don't remember what's on here, so. Four paint sticks, side by side, and this double-sided tape is about the same width as 3 of them. So it makes it easier to apply if I use 3 or 4 sticks at a time, 3-4 sticks at a time. So what I'm going to do next is find some tape. Now the thing about magnetic tape is it's coated on one side only. So you want to try and make sure that the outside that faces this way is the edge that you're going to be making out rub against the head. So all I'm going to do is try to place the tape against the edge of the stick. Try and make sure that make sure it's lined up nicely. And up to about there. So cut it with a razor blade knife. So I'll do it again. So now that I've got tape on, magnetic tape on this side, I can turn it over and do it again. So about that much. Yes, this double-sided tape just to keep sides. You want to do the far side, don't I? Here's some tape, sticky tape. Let's try to put some audio tape on the end of it. So the fourth paint stick doesn't actually have a lot of tape on it, so it should be, again, using the razor blade. That wasn't what I wanted to do. Okay, let's try again. Two of them separated. Smooth that out with a plastic edge. Now that we have a magnetic sensor, we can try and see what other types of material sound like. So this is a VHS tape which I know has recorded on it. So what I'm going to do is just take this VCR tape apart, VCR cassette apart, and then we can cut off some of the tape and see what's on it, based on the magnetic properties. This is not designed for audio use, so I don't know whether we can actually record. I don't know what we'll even hear. Probably and then we will find a piece of tape. And remember which side's up. And what I want to do is see if I can line it up with the other tape. It provides a fairly continuous. That's the way that happens. Now there you go. Cut that off. Maybe we can put another piece of tape down. Another piece of okay, tape head meets videotape. Okay, so this is a soda can, and in 2012 my entry into the third Moog Circuit Bending competition, I initially thought about using a soda can. Now the competition was to use the Robert Moog Google Doodle, record it on a device that doesn't normally record, and play back. And as you've seen this year, in 2019, I've been able to actually get my tape head technique to work with both a mouse pad and a paint stick. So I should be able to use the same technique and put some tape, magnetic tape, around the soda can, and then if I can make it rotate, I should be able to play sounds and record on a soda can. So what I've done, I start with though, I've cut some piece of the cardboard, roughly circular, and then I used a pencil. I got it made very circular. I used a pencil as the axle, and made sure the holes in the can were big enough so I could move the can around. So I glued one of these pieces of cardboard onto the axle, the pencil, and the same here, pushing slightly to squeeze the can so that the can was held in place by friction. And then by rotating the can and eyeballing how offset it is, I slowly put it back so it's basically on center. It's certainly enough for what I needed to do as far as I can tell. So that's what I've done so far. So what I'm going to try to do now is mount that on the tape hub. I'm just working out how to do that. So if I can make this rotate, then I can record onto this. I have a drum recorder. Where are we here? So, well, I've managed, you think so. So I used a piece of heat shrink tubing, heat shrunk it onto the pencil end and onto the spindle. So if I press play, it rotates. So I should be able to use the tape head and record something, or listen to what's already on here. So I'll probably have to make some simple wooden frame to hold it in place using paint sticks, because I've got plenty of those. That is microphone, and I don't care about those. Basically I want a big hole just there. And voila! We have a rotating soda can magnetic tape drum. Jesus loves me, Jesus loves me, Jesus loves me. Oh, you can certainly pick up stuff off the can. Okay, so it's not quite working yet, but not well enough anyway.